The following is a Terry Wyce production. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wyce Thoughts. I'm Terry Wyce, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join us today on the podcast. I want to try and make it time well spent for you. Just remember, I do have a website, wycethoughts.com. Just make sure you spell my name right. W-Y-C-E, wycethoughts.com. There you can go listen to each and every episode of this podcast, by the way. And if you want to comment on the show, by all means, I welcome any and all feedback, both positive and not so positive, I could say. But just hope you're all doing well out there. And oh boy, got some things to talk about on the show today, as we're going to make this a special Labor Day weekend edition, but you're getting it a little bit early here on the podcast, a Labor Day 2023 edition. We're going to talk about, what it's like to work, at least in the United States of America. For some of you out there working, I'm sure some of you can probably relate to some of the things we're going to talk about coming up in the program today. And just a couple other quick things to get to before we do that, though. If you want to communicate with me on X, formerly known as Twitter, but I guess now it's known as X, you can, I used to always say you can tweet at me on Twitter. I love that. I'm like, man, that is so good, Terry. Tweet at me on Twitter. Well, now tweet at me on X. It's at Terry Wyce, W-Y-C-E, at Terry Wyce. Also got a YouTube channel. Just look for Wyce Thoughts if you want to search YouTube. I'm over on Rumble as well. And what's the other one? Tumblr. I think we're on Tumblr, if I'm not mistaken. And Facebook as well. Facebook.com/Wyce Thoughts on Facebook. Okay? And if you want to just old-fashioned, just email me, you can send it to mail, M-A-I-L, mail at wycethoughts.com. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy. If you have questions for me, or if there's a topic, or you need follow-up on something or more information as well, too, you can do that. Just mail, M-A-I-L, mail at wycethoughts.com. All right? Sounds good? Great. So let's gather around the virtual campfire, shall we, right now? Grab your favorite beverage, and let's get a seat around our virtual campfire, and let's get into today's episode of Wyce Thoughts. Now, as we go along, this is the special. It's just the Labor Day edition. But again, you're hearing it a little bit early before Labor Day. But we're going to talk about what it's like to be a worker, especially in the United States of America. Now, I'm going to share with you some insight on some jobs I've had in the past. And I guess it's an exciting time to be a worker in the United States of America, in that the work landscape itself is changing. And with the advent of technology, we've got remote, you can work remotely from your house, man. You can work remotely from home. And there's a lot of, from what I've seen, there's a lot of decent paying jobs out there with some decent benefits. Now, again, working from home does not come without its challenges, of course, obviously. If you happen to have pets, children, other people in the household, depending on your internet connection and the type of employment that you would have working from home. But it also offers, I think, a lot of freedom, in that you don't have to spend that commute time to get to and fro, to and back and forth from your job, driving to an office or a job site. Some other advantages is you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money on clothing. I mean, I don't know of any work from home job that has a dress code, other than if you go on meetings like Zoom meetings or Microsoft Team meetings, that you have clothes on. Remember that, have clothes on, okay? Do that. So that being said, though, however, there's really not a dress code. I mean, I've had some work from home jobs in the past where I've worn shorts and a t-shirt because I didn't have to be on camera or anything like that. I mean, it affords you that freedom, and it saves you a ton of money on having to go out and buy the clothing and things of that nature. So that's great. There's also the wear and tear on a vehicle, fueling the vehicle, etc. Another thing, having to pack a lunch, for your break, or if you were like me, I spent a lot, and I mean, when I say a lot, my friends, for me, I mean, some of you might say, it's nothing, Terry. I spent, when I was having to commute to and fro, because I wasn't a very good person at packing my lunch or bringing leftovers to the office from home. I just wanted, boom, order it, bing, boom. I was spending $400+ a month on food. And my wife actually at the time had brought it to my attention, and she said, honey, you are spending over $400 a month on eating 5 days a week. She goes, do you realize $400 a month? That's a car payment, That's, a third of a mortgage. And I'm like, holy crap, you're right. You're absolutely right. So working from home definitely, in today's society does have its advantages. Now, there are certain types of jobs you can't work from home. And I realize some of you don't have probably, some of you out there probably don't have the ways and the means to work from home. And I get it. But if you can, man, I mean, it's a great gig to get, like being a customer service rep, a sales rep, data entry, all kinds of things, project planners, things of that nature, coders, whatever, I mean, there's just such a plethora of opportunity and employment out there to work from home. I would advise you, if you're not already working from home and you're looking for a job, look at those possibilities, explore that and see. Just be very careful because like with anything, unfortunately, nowadays, there's a lot of scammers out there that look to take advantage of. One of the first things I'll tell you is that you should never, whether it's a work from home opportunity or otherwise, you should never, ever, ever have to pay anyone to get a job. Ever. I don't care what the premise is. I don't care what the promise is. Do not ever pay. That's a big, huge red banner, red flag that it's probably a scam. Because any company worth its weight in salt will say, hey, we're going to send you for a drug test. We're going to do a background check, etc. We need this, or we'll supply you with the equipment. Some of the work from home gigs, will say, hey, you have to have your own computer and internet access. So that's fine. But if a company or a so-called organization starts asking you to shell out money, shell out some bucks for you to have a job to work for them, to generate capital for them, that's a big red flag, and run away. All right? I mean, there are still a lot of traditional job opportunities out there as well. I don't know about you, but in my part of the woods, my neck of the woods in the Northeast, from whence the podcast here cometh to you on a weekly basis, there's a lot of job openings, help wanted signs. Now, I know. Some of you are going to say, Terry, yeah, every time I drive by a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks or something, these pizzerias, they got help wanted signs. But hey, there's a start, okay? I mean, just because you were making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year doesn't mean you're going to get another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year job. You might have to do the do-si-do, man. Take a couple steps backwards to move forwards again, or what have you. But those opportunities, and you just got to look. I guess I can't stress enough that you have to be your own best manager, your own best agent. Let's put it that way. You have to be your agent. We've got movie agents, talent agencies, sports agents. You hear all that kind of talk all the time. You have to be your best agent for yourself. No one's really that I know of, is going to walk up and say, oh, you're Terry Wyce. Hey, man, here's a job. Here's it. I mean, granted, I've been offered opportunities in the past by people just through networking and connections, and they heard I was a free agent, as it were, back on the market. Or I've had people call me in the past while I've been employed and said, hey, are you thinking about making a move ever? Because we'd love to have you over here on our team for this, or we'd like to talk to you about this project. Keep yourself open for opportunities. Always, I would say, explore the opportunity as far as you can if you're currently employed. Because, getting back to the idea of you being your own agent, you're an agent for your life. You're an agent for what happens to you. You're an agent for how how far you advance and what you're paid and how you're treated, not just in the employment universe, but in life itself, my friends. I mean, let's just be honest here. There's a lot of great memes going around the internet, whether it's on X / formerly known as Twitter, TikTok and Facebook, YouTube Shorts and Tumblr, all these places. You'll see this meme creep up every once in a while that you teach people how to treat you. And, it's taken me many a year to internalize that thought and realize, it's absolutely true. I'm teaching people how to treat me all the friggin' time. And so are you, my friends. So bear that in mind. We're teaching people how to treat us and the level of respect they give to us. Now, I'm not saying you got to be a hard ass and be nasty and say, the first time you feel that you're wrong, to just go off and go off on somebody like a maniac. I mean, have a little tact, but just let someone know, hey, I didn't appreciate that, or I don't appreciate being talked to in this manner, or this is a boundary with, however you want to explain it. But, remember, you're your own best agent. Be your agent. Be an agent for yourself, especially in the workplace. Now, I've had some experiences both in working in the home and working out of the home. In the past, I'll give you the latter first here. In working out of the home, I have had some places that treated me great, treated all their employees like, I don't want to say family because it's not. I mean, any employer says, oh, we're like a family. And again, this is just my opinion. I think that's a very disingenuous statement. It's your employer. At the end of the day, if you do something malicious enough to, defame the company or hurt the company or, cause the company to lose face in the public eye or profits or whatever, they're going to cut you. They're going to cut you faster than you can shake a stick. So you're not really family, all right? At least that's been my experience. Not that I've done any of those aforementioned things. It's just that I've seen it happen to people. It's just very disingenuous for a company to say, oh, we treat everyone like family. We're not a family. You're my employer, okay? We're distant acquaintances, work colleagues, what have you. You are not family. I draw a very different line between people I associate with at a job, whether it be virtually or in person, and my actual family and my actual, quote, friends. Now, I have made friends at jobs, mind you, and outside of work, we've had things. But at the end of the day, people like supervisors, people in a management role, what have you, they're just my employer. You can be friendly, but no way that I ever consider these people family. And again, that's just been my experience. Now, you out there may have had a different experience. And if you have, hey, comment on the podcast. If you're on Spotify, you can put comments below. If you're on the Wyce Thoughts website at wycethoughts.com, you can log in and comment below this episode or shoot me out an email at mail@wycethoughts.com and let me know if your experience as far as, in the workplace, have you ever felt like you were treated like family? I'd love to hear back from you and let me know what you think. If you're listening on YouTube, you can put comments down below there as well for that. I believe on YouTube we're distributed through Purple Pit Studios. If you look for Purple Pit Studios on YouTube, and it allows you to comment underneath the episode if you're listening here or there. Here. It's also confusing. But anyway, I just think, again, just to close this out, I just think an employer saying we treat our employees like family is just very disingenuous. They're your employer. You're the employee. You have a fiduciary responsibility to show up for work, perform the best that you can perform, follow the realistic and lawful rules and regulations of an organization. And that's where I stand on that. And, that's the way it should be. Now, so I've worked for some great organizations in the past, and I've worked for some not so great organizations. There was an organization back in the 90s, the 1990s for you out there listening that may be a little younger, not the 1890s, the 1990s, that was a large retail organization, which is now bankrupt, but they were doing very questionable, shall we say, Hang on one second here, just fixing the microphone. Apologies for that, my friends. Questionable business practices. And myself and others, I'm not going to take full credit on this particular information I'm providing, but myself, along with some others, didn't think it was right, so we confidentially reported that organization. And I similarly left that organization not very long after that because I just didn't feel comfortable working for an organization that was doing something that I felt was unethical and turned out to be unlawful down the road that we found out with that organization. I did not wish to participate, and some others as well, and we left the organization. Other than that, the people that worked there were great. It's just the marching orders, I guess, they had gotten from the higher-ups was sketchy, questionable, and turned out to be unlawful. That's all I'll say on that. But again, I've worked for some organizations that treated their employees very well, and some that were indifferent, and some that were just outright terrible. One experience I'll relay to you here was my most recent experience. Now, for those of you that follow the podcast, you know, if you dig into some past episodes, about 4 or 5 episodes, the past 4 or 5 episodes back or so, I had relayed to you that I was working for an organization, a nationwide organization, mind you, which for the under the auspices of professionalism and decorum and just being in good taste, I'm not going to mention that company's name anymore, although they are out of business now. They were, quote unquote, acquired by another organization. And anyway, this nationwide company that I work for, and again, you can dig into my feelings just to confirm here, that I myself and many others, I mean, literally, and again, I'm not trying to be, I can't stress enough, I'm not trying to be, say overstate this or garner your support or empathy on this, but literally a fair estimate would say 65 to 70% of my coworkers at this organization had similar, if not more intense, feelings of angst that I had in regards to the way that the organization started treating us in the past 24 months before it finally, went defunct and was acquired and taken over and put out of its misery. It was a nationwide organization that used to, some 6+ years ago when I had first joined, it had a fantastic management team. They were phenomenal. I mean, when you hear corporate buzzwords like coaching and, things like that, positive work environment, we respect your opinions, we welcome your suggestions. We want to summarily as a team, you hear the corporate buzzword, we're all a team here. Everyone's ideas are important. We're diversified. There's no retaliatory process. All these corporate buzzwords that HR and corporations, throw around and throw at you. And when I was recruited by this organization, and I was in a whole different field. I used to work in the cellular industry, in a mid-level management capacity, and I saw this opportunity at something that was totally different. I had never done before, and I thought this might be a different opportunity because my career in the cellular phone industry was getting stagnant. There was a rumor that the company I worked for was going to be bought out by another one. And that company in the cellular industry was trying to sell the company for like 4 or 5 years that I was there, and I was there, pretty much a decade. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to be proactive this time instead of reactive. So I started looking, again, being my own best agent, seeking what opportunities were available out there. And I came across this company, and I thought, I filled out the application literally at like 6 o'clock in the morning one day. I think it was a Wednesday, as a matter of fact. I had filled it out some 6+ years ago. And literally at 9:30, or I think it was either 9:30 or 9:45 a.m., I got a call from their recruiting team saying, hey, we like these qualifications that you put up, and can you come in for an interview? I'm like, sure, when? How's tomorrow? Well, it happened to be my day off. That was the day off. I had 2 days back to back. I had Wednesdays and Thursdays at the cellular company I was working for. I said, absolutely, sure. Tell me, what time and where. They did. I went in dressed business casual, I just made the assumption business casual, nice dress pants, shoes, shirt, tie. Went in and interviewed with 2 individuals in a room. The interview process was about an hour, lots of questions, back and forth, feedback, what have you. Just, gauging. They were getting a feel for me and I was getting a feel for them. I thought it was a great process. Afterwards, they said, hey, we like what we hear. We like what we like what's in front of us. And I was feeling comfortable. And they asked, would you like to stay for about another half hour to an hour and go to our sales floor section just to get a feel for the company, get a better gauge? I was like, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So I did that. And again, this was on my time. I wasn't expecting any kind of compensation. I'm not like that. I'm not always with my hand out, okay? And I did that. Down the road, summarily, I went through the process, drug test, everything, second interview, what have you, and was presented an offer letter and, reviewed it. I took 48 hours because that's usually what I take. I usually take a couple days to mull something over. That's just me. Your process might be quicker. But I like to have just at least that 48 hours, 2 days, just to let things settle because emotions can run high and feelings and what have you. And I have found for myself anyway, that it's better if I review those things and give myself that 48-hour window because I feel I make a better informed decision. So anyhow, long and short of the matter of the onboarding process, I accepted their offer. It was actually a little bit better money than I was making. But again, it was a little daunting because I was stepping away from an organization that prior in the cell phone industry that I had over almost a decade in of time, experience, comfortability in the job, a lot of friends, work type friends and colleagues there, okay, and felt comfortable with the organization. The only outlier being is that they were actively shopping themselves for the past 2 years to try and get bought out because they just wanted to dump the company. So anyway, I come on with this, the new company here. And it's an inside, in an office in a big call center type situation. And I was going to be an agent for, customers, clients calling in and acquiring services. And again, I don't want to divulge too much because I'm going to tell you some of the things that happened there, but I'm not going to mention names or, the company or companies' names in this just for, again, being in good form. All right. I'm trying not to be vindictive, and I just don't think it'd be good form to do that. So anyway, I went through their training process. Now, their training process was 2 solid weeks of in-classroom training on their facility with a great trainer. I mean, a guy that was very affable. He was funny, and everything else. So anyway, so we can do that, and I went in there, did the training, we did all that stuff, and then we hit the floor and started taking calls, inbound calls and what have you. So anyway, long and short of it, got comfortable in the job, started, learning the job, the ropes, had a couple little bumps in the road, but with the management at the time that they had there, some 6 years ago, if you made if you want to call it an error or a mistake, they were very forgiving. They were very helpful. They understood, hey, you're new, you're just starting out. They would call you into a small office and say, hey, I just want to show you something, or let's listen to this call. And what do you think about that? What do you think, though, about this section here? Is there something you might have, if you had to take that call over? But I didn't take it as confrontational. It was very, very helpful. It was almost like a friend pulling you aside and saying, hey, man, we're playing baseball and, you're kind of missing when the ball, because I think you're swinging too early or this or that. It was very helpful, very, very helpful, and that I was so pleased with. I was so happy with. I was like, wow, this is kind of something different instead of the I gotcha, or the wagging of the corporate finger at you, So that I really enjoyed. So, I continued to grow with the company and learn in my role, learn new skills, learn the industry I was in, and taking my vast customer service skills that I had acquired over the years as well and management skills, proceeded to, build upon a career there. Now, fast forward a couple years, about 4 years into it, And the current upper management team and our CEO decide it's time for them to move along. And God bless them. They created a product, they created a business, and they poured a lot into it and what have you. And now they wanted to, move on down the road and enjoy their life. And that is great. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Building a life for yourself and moving down the line and reaping the benefits of your harvest, with that. However, my friends, I digress. Upon departure of the leader of the helm, our CEO, within about 3 months, the individual they brought in, it went from the way I described it to my fellow employees, that I was seeing about 6 months or so in, and going down the road, and then a year in, just one particular phrase kept popping into my mind. We went from a culture of caring about the customer as well as the well-being of the business to caring only about the cash register. Let me repeat that. The company that I was working for went from caring about the customer as well as the success of the business to only caring about the cash register. And policies were enacted, things were changed that not only did not benefit the customer, mind you, it was at the detriment of current and longstanding and new employees. It started breeding an atmosphere of resentment, of confrontation from management instead of cooperation. A lot of long-standing middle and upper management team members left the company just for the sheer environment that was becoming very toxic. Where I last worked was a clear example of a toxic work environment. I mean, if you would look up toxic work environment on Wikipedia, I could give you where I last worked, and for the last 3 years, especially the last 2 years, hands down, number one, and the award goes to them. It went from, again, a platform of cooperation and coaching with your employees to confrontation, constant confrontation. And I myself cannot speak to how many times I was told by different members of new management that was brought in, well, that's just the way it is. It has to be done this way. That's it. We're changing. The company's evolving. Or the buzzword, the corporate buzz phrase that I learned to fucking hate, and pardon my F-bomb there, ladies and gentlemen, but that I hate. It's the needs of the business. The needs of the business. Can I say that with any more disdain in my voice? The needs of the business. There. Emphasis on my disdain and what I felt that management was like there. And a lot of good people left. I was one of the last handful of surviving team members that tried to rough it out, and it was awful. The gaslighting that went on, the out and out, and ladies and gentlemen, I think, in my humble opinion, the term gaslighting is just another term for being a friggin' liar. You're lying. That's what I equate gaslighting to. Gaslighting is that, as George Carlin, God rest his soul, used to say, that soft language. When you say someone is calorie challenged. No, they're friggin' fat. Okay? Same thing. Gaslighting, no, you're a doggone liar. That's what you are. You're a liar. A no good, dirty, rotten scoundrel and a liar. And it just started infuriating me. I mean, just the lack of respect by, we had great management team members leave and they replaced them with overgrown narcissistic children that got excited and pounded their chest at the title behind their name. I'm a supervisor. I'm a company, call center director and blah, blah, blah. You're idiots. You're insensitive, narcissistic children is what you were. That's what I call you, okay? And that's exactly, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't say that as a singular opinion. 90% of the staff there currently held the same low regard for them. I just happen to be more boisterous and vocal about it. Now, I was respectful to them as human beings. I didn't say the words I actually wanted to say to them, but I did call them out on many occasions. I even went as far as to go to human resources to ask for help. And I know, because I was in management, believe me, I was in management, I was in other things, and I knew going to human resources was basically painting a large target on my back, and eventually I was going to be broomed out the door. But at that point, when you go to HR, I feel, and again, just my humble opinion, ladies and gentlemen, just my opinion, my humble opinion is when you go to HR, you are already 1 foot out the door. You're just waiting for them to usher you out because you don't want to give them the satisfaction of resigning your employment. And I wasn't about to do that. I wasn't about to give them the satisfaction. I was also exploring other job opportunities along the way until I started and did something else. So that being said, the last 2 years of working for the last organization I was at was complete and utter. There's no other way to describe it. It was a toxic hell. I started having issues with my health, everything from migraine headaches, blood pressure going up, stress, anxiety, depression, you name it. It was happening. And it was an environment I most definitely was not going to stay in. But I was trying to weed my way out the door. But again, without giving them the satisfaction of resigning. I was going to let them, end my employment. I guess call it a punitive thing. Call it a, being childlike, I guess, and especially at my age, being over half a century old. But they were bringing out the worst in me. And I wasn't liking who I was becoming there. And I knew it, but if I may pat myself on the back, I did everything I could to acquiesce, to try and conform, to try and cooperate with that management team, to no avail. They just found new and in more inventive ways to screw with me. Not only me, but over 85% of the other staff that were there. And, some people just did things to get themselves fired, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't violate company policy or, be disrespectful to a member of a management team, no matter how low I think of them as a human being and how unqualified I think they are to lead people. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of stooping to that level, nor would I disrespect my clients. My clients had nothing to do with the poor decisions made by the organization. Not their fault. So that being said, I acquiesced, and when the buyout offers started coming and my company was eventually sold to another organization, I cheered that. I was happy that it happened. In that it was almost like being put out of your misery. It was like taking Old Yeller out to the back. Now there was, again, still some gaslighting, i.e. lying going on by those administrators and managers and supervisors while the takeover was happening, that we might keep a lot of you, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the new organization that came in, I don't have anything against them. They were just doing what a new corporate entity would do. They looked at what they had. They looked at their staffing compared to the staffing of the organization they were acquiring and said, you know what, we don't need a lot of these people. So basically they cut about 85% of us loose, and I was one of them, which I'm totally at peace with. I'm fine. I guess the moral of this long story that I'm telling you is that, again, folks, be your own agent. If you're in a work environment that's unhealthy, it's causing you sleepless nights, stress, high blood pressure, anxiety attacks, migraine headaches, upset stomachs, ulcers or whatever, get out. Do what you can to get out. You got to do something that you feel comfortable in, being comfortable in your own skin. I'm sure you've heard that phrase many a time. You got to be comfortable in your skin. Well, you got to be comfortable and enjoy doing what you're doing. There's no magic pill. There's no magic organization that's going to acquiesce and give you everything you want. There's give and take. It's a relationship. It's like anything in life. It's a relationship. And being employed is a relationship. Whether you're working at a large organization, a small organization, a family organization, or you're running and doing your own thing and are self-employed, it's always a relationship. A relationship between you and management, you and your clients, you and your vendors, you and your fellow employees, employer, what have you. It's all about a relationship. However, if that relationship, and please, I can't stress this enough, guys, if that relationship is toxic, get the hell out of there as fast as you possibly can. You like I always tell you on the program on Wyce Thoughts, you only get one life, right? You only get one life. Why spend it somewhere where you're going to be miserable? And especially at a job where you're miserable. And I know. I said the same things that you have probably saying right now in your mind or out loud. But Terry, this pays the bills. This pays the mortgage. This is paying for my mom's medical treatment. This is putting my son, daughter, friend through college. This is buying my car. This is buying my boat, my summer home. But at what price? That's what I want to ask you. At what price is it giving you? Is it taking your health? Are you going to die 10 years younger from a stroke or a heart attack because you're going to put up with stress for the next, 5 to 10 years that you just, ugh. Well, not me, my friends. I mean, if your constitution can handle that, God bless you. God bless you. You're a better man or woman than I am. I was thankfully put out of my misery from that last work environment, thankfully. And I've gone on to do bigger and better things. You know it. I know it. I mean, if you go to terrywyce.com, TerryWyce, I've launched a voiceover business. Okay. I've kind of been doing it off and on, but I really just started pouring a lot more into that, and you can check that out. I'm not going to shamelessly plug myself here on end. I've also started another business where I formed a partnership in an event entertainment organization that you're going to be seeing coming down the road as well. Hoping to launch that later this year, and we got our first event coming up later in the year. Hopefully, so should start seeing some repercussions and some financial gain from that in 2024, early 2024. And I'll give you more information on that as it becomes available as well, and things too. It's wholesome family entertainment. We're not doing anything crazy or outlandish, like having, porcupine races or anything crazy. But it's wholesome family entertainment, and it's based around the rail industry and such, and holiday train rides. It's something that everyone can enjoy, something where you can make lifetime memories. Am I doing more than when I was doing at my other quote-unquote job career? Yeah, I'm doing more now than in trying to get these things launched and off the ground. And there's a lot of what they call footwork. There's a lot of footwork involved in it. But you know what? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the stress that may come along with it, because it's good stress. It's better stress, if there is such a way. I mean, we all stress in our lives every day. Good, bad, and indifferent. It's good and indifferent stress. It's not the, like I feel like I'm just banging my head against a brick wall type of stress. And I'm thankful to the good Lord above for that. All I'm going to implore upon you is, like I said, on this Labor Day, think about it. Think about where you are, who you're working for, what organization you're working for, or better yet, what hopes and dreams do you have? Have you ever thought about starting your own business, writing a book, becoming a musician, a poet, becoming a caterer, becoming a voiceover artist, becoming an actor, an actress, maybe serving the elderly, maybe doing something. If you have a tattoo artist, I have a friend who wants to become a tattoo artist, and the man, I'm telling you, is drawing freehand, wow, he is talented as all get out. And I keep encouraging him. I'm saying, man, do it. Do it. And he throws up some of the blockades that I did and you do. Yeah, but I've got a family. I've got responsibilities. I got to pay the bills. Well, then ease into it. Don't give up on your dreams, okay? If you've ever thought about working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, it ain't easy. Man, it ain't easy. I'm telling you. I used to have a cleaning business many a decade ago. It wasn't easy then doing that. It's not easy being your own boss. A lot of people have the misconception of, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to do what I want and I can. No, because when you start your own business, you don't have one boss. You have all your clients, all your customers or i.e. clients are your bosses. Okay. And if you're in a business partnership or a corporation you form with some people, they're all okay. You're all equals and you're the bosses of each other. You're always going to have some type of a boss. And if it's a sole proprietorship, again, you're still your clients and your customers or your industry. That's going to be your boss. That's going to be your plateau, your level, your measuring stick of getting paid and being successful. So remember that. However, the satisfaction you can gain in working for yourself or working with others in a partnership, if you so desire, and following your dream, there's nothing, folks, I lay my head down at night and I know that I'm working towards something. And, I've had people say to me, hey, Terry, what if that all fails? What if your voiceover business fails? What if your an entertainment event company fails? Then what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to sleep well at night. I'm going to know that I took a shot at it. Maybe I have to reinvent or adjust certain parts of the business or businesses. Or if all else fails, if all is lost, I'll go to work for another company. I'm employable. I'll find the right fit. I'm employable. So remember, you always have options, okay? Until they're shoveling dirt into you and putting you in the ground or they're sticking you in the oven for bacon, you've always got options. Don't give up. Don't give up. And be your own best agent and take care of yourself. You take care of yourself and your mental well-being and physical well-being. I'm telling you, my friends, the rest is going to start falling in line. Take it from Terry. I know. We're on this journey together. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, by all means, mail at wycethoughts.com. Email me. Love to start a conversation. Tweet at me. Well, I say tweet at me on Twitter. Tweet at me on X, at Terry Wyce. Let's start a conversation there about this episode. All right, reference this episode in your comments. I'll get back to you. Absolutely. Or leave a comment in the comments section on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify, or at my website, wycethoughts.com. If you're listening there, there's a spot for you there. I believe you have to have a Facebook account. On the Facebook page, you can do it too. Facebook.com/Wyce Thoughts. Hey, Terry, I want to talk to you about the episode you had on work for Labor Day, the Labor Day. And we can start a conversation there. Be happy to have a dialogue with you back and forth. Absolutely. But just remember, be your own best agent. And like I always tell you, my friends, if you want to see a change in the world, you have to be that change you want to see in the world. It all starts with you, the person looking back at you in the mirror every morning. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to animals. God bless you. And I look forward to getting together again around the virtual campfire with you again real soon. Now take care and go have a great day. Thanks for listening to Wyce Thoughts.